So, thank you very much, first of all, Alice, for being willing to do this interview with me. Uh, Unfortunately, not everyone is willing to do that, and that's okay because people uh, sometimes they don't want to be on video or there's some privacy issues. So, it really takes a lot of grace and courage also to come on and do videos and share your story and so forth. So, first, let me just ask you a question or two about uh, what did you struggle with before you found Pro90D? Like, what brought you to Pro90D and to me?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to do this interview with you, Michael. It just excites me that I can even get to the point where you invited me to do so. So what got me to the Pro90D program was I used to stutter. I had speech disfluencies as a young girl, and my schoolmates made fun of me. And I just wasn't able to say what I needed to say when I wanted to say it. And so it got to a point where it affected my job because I didn't want to take on high pressure speaking assignments, for example. And I just took the back seat and I just decided that I was better than that. I feel like I'm somebody who has a lot of potential. And so I knew that where there's a will, there's a way. And I decided, let me look online, see what's out there. And when I came across your YouTube channel, actually, you shared stories that made me think of who I was. The exact same things that you went through were exact experiences that I went through. And so you were me, but just not me. And so I thought you understood me better than anyone else would. And so I decided I was going to find out more about your program. And that's how I found you.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Was there anything, were there, was there anything specific or a series of events that sparked you, that motivated you to kind of say, I need to fix this now? Because obviously you've been living with this for your whole life. So what was there a culmination of things or what?
I think I started to feel that I was disappointing people and they didn't know exactly what I was internally struggling with, pardon me. And I was not taking career moves that would help me move up the corporate ladder, for example. I needed to make the choice to take certain jobs if I wanted to, but my speech disfluency forced me to not take certain jobs, opportunities that were presented to me.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I just thought I needed to make my decisions to not take a job if I wanted to or take it. I needed to say what I wanted to say when I needed to say. And so just feeling that way just made me take that next step.
Interesting, interesting. Now, there there are lots of options out there, and you invested at least a couple of $1,000s or so. Uh, you kind of mentioned this before, but let's go in a little deeper. Why did you choose me as a coach over other coaches or therapists out there? So I know you said this because you felt like I understood you. Um, was, is that the only reason? Was there anything else about our program or about me that said, I'm gonna invest a couple $1,000s into this program as opposed to another one?
That's a great question. Other than you being someone relatable to me, I felt that your program was science-based. And I just love the fact that somebody did the research as you did, and things made sense. So I knew that wasn't a scam. You were actually talking about science-based facts. So knowing that, I needed to find out more. I was actually very curious to know what you knew. So it was that, your leadership style, actually, and your calming voice, and also your sense of humor. I actually do think that you're funny. And so there were just a lot of reasons why I chose you to be my coach, actually.
Interesting. So that leads us into your background. Tell us a little bit about about what you've done, and then that'll bring us into what you're doing around now and one of your most recent successes. What's your background?
My personal background or in the program background?
Your background professionally, like what
Okay.
you, yeah.
So I went to school for cardiovascular technology, and I graduated from that program, and I got my bachelor's in health services administration at a college in Gainesville. And then from there, I started working in the cardiac electrophysiology field as a technologist in Jacksonville. And after that, I got recruited by Johnson and Johnson to work as a heart mapping specialist in South Florida. They recruited me about 12 years ago now. So I've been in my actual career actually for 18 years, but as a
Wow.
cardiac mapping specialist, it's been about 12 years plus. And
Okay.
so I've been doing that in South Florida since then.
Got it. Got it. Now, so you recently had an interview within the last, I don't know, month or two with a company that that you said that you really admired. And so tell us about your most recent success, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you got there.
So I actually decided to take time off of my career and dabble in cybersecurity. And the reason why I left my previous heart mapping job was because I was getting stressed out about the fact that I wasn't able to take on more responsibilities because of my speech disfluency.
Mm.
So again, I felt that I was letting people down and I just couldn't share with my internal struggles. So during my time off, some recruiters reached out to me. They found me on LinkedIn. They thought that I was the perfect candidate to work for them. And so the company name is Medtronic. It's actually very well known. I think they're mostly in the heart device space, think pacemakers, but they started a new company in heart mapping. And so back in November, somebody reached out to me. They said, "We really want you to work for us, and the job's going to be in Boston." But knowing how I struggled with my speech, I just thought, you know what? I don't know if I can even interview with them. So I started to talk myself out of that opportunity, and they kept at it. They kept on trying to contact me. And at that point, I actually had left the country to do some projects in Zambia, where I was born, and they just didn't let up. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna keep on working with Mike, because at that point I had already started to work with you, Michael. I think I
Yeah.
started back in the summer,
Oh, okay. Okay.
in May. I remember that I had to take a break when I traveled to Zambia, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I knew, I said, by the time I get back to the US, I need to put the pressure back on with Michael, because these guys are not leaving me alone. So that's how come I started to do more meetings with you, Michael. I started to listen to the modules. I joined the Saturday classes that you have.
Right.
And I just started feeling more confident. And then I started to take the calls from the recruiters. And then the rest is history. I just got better and better with my new speaking style.
Mhm.
And I got the job basically.
Right. Now, you said this in your other video, but we definitely want to say it here because people, they wonder, I mean, I think some of the major questions that people have when they're looking at any program or any investment in a program or coaching or anything is, will this work? Does this work? Will this work for me? Right? Will I do the work? Is it so much work that I just won't even do it anyway? And then, is it worth the investment? Right? So whatever money I put into this, is it worth it? So yeah, let's kind of talk about that. So you got this new job, and I think you said now you're making how much more than what you were making before?
I think I shared that I'm making $60,000 more than my previous salary, which was a good salary already. And
Right.
this one is the most I've ever made in my life, to be honest. And so I am
Wow.
besides myself with excitement and also pride because I've been doing the work and I know that there's still more work to do, but I've seen the success and I've seen where this can take me. So I'm very
Yeah.
thrilled to continue on this journey, actually.
So then, if someone invests whatever the amount is, 2,000 or 3,000, right? Because we have some programs that's for a year that's, I don't know, $4,000 or something like that. And then for 6 months at 2,700. So whatever the number is, and then we have an 8-week program that's around 2,000. So whatever the number is, whether it's 2,000 or 5,000, uh, which would you say that you've gotten your money back, or that you will, once you start, because you're in the process of transitioning and moving, but you've accepted the job, you signed the contract. Was this and is this a good investment? Whatever you paid.
Yes, it is very good. For privacy reasons, I don't want to share my annual salary, but I can tell
Mhm.
you it's maybe 200 fold. I mean, way more than I invested in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what are some of the specific areas? In fact, we'll just talk about some of the specific areas of your life because this is a holistic program. What are some of the specific areas of your life? And I'll just name a few. We've talked a bit about professionally and financially how this has helped you. How about socially and personally? How has this helped you socially with friends, family, relationships, and so forth?
Would say that I am more confident in speaking up and really going for, especially careers and jobs that I know that I deserve, right? In the past, it was
Mm.
about feeling ashamed of how I spoke, for example. And now, it's more that I have confidence to be anywhere, to be at any table that I want to be at, because I can say what I need to say when I need to say it. And I believe in helping other people too. So being able to share with others as well what success looks like is very important to me. That's in fact why I'm here talking to you, Michael, is because I need to let other people know that they don't need to live in the shadows, right? So my relationships with friends are even better because I can just call them to catch up and not just a text message. I'm able to share my feelings more in a call than in a text. And, I think that has made my well, like my love for talking actually even more, I like to talk, but when I'm talking with people in a superior position, for example, I feel that I'm going to get stuck again. But knowing that I have tools to lean on, and techniques, I'm just so confident to speak to anybody as well. So professionally, with my friends, I just feel that I can be anybody that I want to be. And that's just freedom for me. So freedom is very important to be who I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, for me too. And then what about health wise? I know in one of our conversations you mentioned health. How's this impacted your health? And then also you mentioned how your health impacts your speech, right? So they both impact each other. So just maybe say a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I started to go through your modules, I learned that stress, anxiety has a lot to do with speech disfluencies, right? And so I realized that at that time. So as I started to listen to your modules, I started to pay attention to how I felt. So I became more mindful, more aware of how I felt. And the more stress I felt, the more I had negative
Anticipation.
feelings.
Feelings.
Yeah, yeah, feelings.
Mhm.
And I mean, I didn't feel very motivated to do much, to pursue other jobs per se. And so negative feelings actually just held me back a lot too. And knowing that my stress level affected my speech, I try to find out what to do in order to feel less stressed. And then I decided to work out some more. I started to meditate some more. And lo and behold, I just started to speak a little bit smoother.
Mm, okay. So yeah. So by by working out and taking care of yourself in that way, that impacted your stress levels, which then impacted your speech. Yeah, because you.
And the less stress I felt, the more in control I felt about what I had to say too. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I found correlation in that.
So, what what are some of the specific things that helped you from the program? Uh, I know we've talked about being present a lot, and I think there were a few other things, and this is the same for a lot of people. I remember months and months and months ago, you used to said you're always in your head, right? You're always kind of thinking about stuff, anticipating, worrying about things. So,
Mhm.
what are some of the specific strategies and techniques and tools from the coaching process and the system itself that you felt like helped you the most and will probably help other people?
So I really learned to, again, be more present, right? Understanding how I felt. And if I was feeling like, well, I'm going to get stuck as soon as start talking to somebody else, then that was bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to positively anticipate what I was going to say and visualizing successful speaking situations. That started to really happen. So that became a reality for me. And then also, I started to think about how I would feel after I successfully spoke.
Uh-huh.
So I look forward to that feeling of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I started to positively anticipate speaking situations. And that just made me happier and less nervous, I guess. And my speech also became smoother because of that.
Tell us a little bit about the work required to get to where you are now, because some people think it's going to be magic. Think it's going to happen quickly, and relatively speaking, it does happen quickly. Sometimes it's not as quickly as people think, But if you've been struggling with something for decades and then you transcend it in months, that's pretty doggone fast, right? So, but sometimes it's not as fast as people think, or not as easy. And so they get frustrated, and they're going to have dips, right? They're going to have ups and downs and stuff. So tell us a little bit about the work that you put in and the time required to make this transformation.
I would say, I'm still a work in progress, right? It's been less than a year that I've been working with you, Michael, but I have been doing daily affirmations, for example. I've been telling myself, first of all, I am calm, I am relaxed, because anxiety and stress plays a big role in my speech disfluency. So understanding that leads me to make certain affirmations, for me personally, at least. And then also meditating. The 7-7 breathing has been a vital part of my success also. Speaking with my hands, that's one of them too. And the Vic and Rick structure. My responses are tailored to having value, impact, and clarity. They are relevant, and they also have impact and clarity. So understanding those main things has really helped me become smoother and smoother day by day. I still display some old habits from time to time, but because I'm more present, I'm able to bring myself back to the new speaking style that I have now. So, I'm here to tell people it's not a magic bullet. It's something that I'm continuing to work on. The fact that I'm confident that it is working for me makes me actually, again, more excited about where this is going to take me.
And then you also mentioned earlier our Saturday Virtual Speech Masters Club. So for those of you that are watching, you can join that on its own. It's only $120 per 6 months. And we have meetings virtually every Saturday. It's like $204 for a full year. And you get the course. But if you're coaching with me, you get that for free. That's included in the coaching. So I remember the first time you attended and how you spoke, and then I can see how you're speaking now, and I can see how you speak on the Saturday session. So maybe just briefly say a little bit about how the Saturday sessions has helped you.
Those memories are still fresh in my mind as well, Michael. So I would have problems saying my name because in the Saturday meetings, for those of you that have never attended, they are semi-high pressure meetings where they go around asking people to introduce themselves. And for some reason, when it comes to be my turn, saying my name, which is Alice, became very difficult, and I wouldn't know why. And so the first meeting, that was kind of rough. I think the second one also, I kind of got stuck saying my name, but by the third meeting, I just said it. And I think the meeting after, I was able to just say my name normally, like I normally do. For some reason, those meetings put me in high pressure spot, and they're designed to do so because we are practicing among peers and two coaches, actually. And so those first few days, my mind was going back to my negative habits of anxiety, of being stressed about speaking sometimes in public. But after attending them a few times, it just became more comfortable, or I became more comfortable, and it became easier and easier for me to not only say my name, but also present to the point where my peers gave feedback, which they often do. And for the first time, I think the last couple meetings, I really got positive feedback from everybody that was in my group.
Yeah.
And so that was actually just before I got the job interview that got me to the job offer.
Oh,
That was the moment, the aha moment for me. And I
very
think
interesting.
yeah, it played a role in other things that I did afterwards.
Yeah. So again, for those of you watching, when you're working with us, you get to put into practice under pressure in a supportive environment uh, what you're learning. So the things that you and I talk about, you'd actually get to practice it under pressure, introducing yourself. We do interviewing. I think we did interview the last week or two, and we do on the spot presentations where we put you on the spot. We give you a topic, and you have to present on it. You give feedback, you get feedback, so you have plenty of speaking opportunities. And I definitely have seen you grow there, and it's had an immediate impact, I guess, on your ability to get that job too,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So uh, the next question that I want to ask you is if someone is thinking about um, joining this, well, no, actually, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, your interviews, were they in person or were they virtual?
They were virtual because of the fact that my hiring manager is in Boston. I'm currently in South Florida. They had
Right.
to be virtual. And so I spoke with more than one person, though. There were stakeholders. I mean, I spoke with the area director. I was even on a training call. You know, they tested me on a mapping system. So I was under pressure there as well. I think I forgot to mention that to you, Michael.
Yeah.
But I had to pass a test that is related to the heart mapping job. And then after that, I spoke with my clinical manager. I talked to the account manager, the area director, uh, the recruiters.
Mhm.
I mean, I've talked to several people prior to getting that offer. So,
Wow.
and every call was an opportunity to speak, to practice. And
Yeah.
that's one thing also that I should mention. Every time I open my mouth has been the opportunity to practice. If I felt like I forgot to, I mean, to incorporate like one technique, for example, I will make it a point to include that next time that I have the chance to speak with someone. And
Right.
so every call was an opportunity to perfect it, to do better than the last one. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that was great for me.
That's a great perspective. So all your calls were virtual and you had to do several calls. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because there's going to be people watching who are going to have interviews. And nowadays, many of the interviews are going to be virtual. And so
Mhm.
when you're working with us, you get lots and lots of opportunity um, to practice speaking virtually. You and I are speaking virtually, and we talk about body language and posture, hand gestures in the camera, eye contact. We just got this up. Then you get an opportunity and opportunities to practice that on Saturdays, right? So not only are calls on Saturdays, and then you obviously get the opportunity to put that into practice in your interview calls. So I just wanted to mention that because that's a big thing. A lot of people are out there applying for jobs. It's super competitive now as more and more people flood the market, right, for jobs. So you need to be able to communicate well and do it virtually, which
Yes.
is, yeah.
And if I may share, Michael,
Mm.
because I'm so aware now of what I feel, I've noticed that I do better when I'm speaking with people in person. But there's something about the virtual space that would make it more challenging. I think it's because
Mm,
like I don't feel that close to people. I don't know because there's a screen between us. And so
right.
those Saturday meetings and the one-on-one coaching with you, those things also help me overcome whatever that is that I have with the virtual part about it. So the
Yeah.
practice is really, really important to me. And I think it's going to be key because I'm going to be meeting more stakeholders actually coming up in the next few months.
Hmm.
And because I've met them virtually, I think the meeting with them in person, I think is just going to be much easier than meeting virtually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So as we wrap up here, if those who are watching this, uh, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, or you live in other, many of my clients live in other countries, they're multilingual. We have people who are Italian and Spanish, literally people who live in Italy, people live in Germany. It doesn't matter. Uh, Black, white, Asian, right? What would you tell them if they're, as you say, kind of hiding in the shadows? They are, they're brilliant, they're educated, they have the experience, they have the knowledge, they deserve better jobs, but they see their colleagues getting those jobs who may not even be as qualified. But it's essentially their speech and their confidence and their ability to verbally articulate their value. And they're wondering if this is going to be a good choice for them. What would you tell them? What would you say to them?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to actually share with other people. But before I do so, I also want to
Mm,
share that there is a WhatsApp group in your program as well as the Saturday programs.
yeah, yeah, thank you.
That group also helped me, by the way, because there are so many members there that they just come from different walks of life. They have different
Mm,
issues. Maybe some of them never started before. Some just need to speak slower, for example, but
mhm,
some really have severe stuttering issues. And being able to listen to their challenges also helped me come out of my shell by offering advice or speaking about my own challenges. I felt that I had a tribe. I didn't feel alone anymore.
mm,
So that I need to mention, there's a community of like people. But I do want to share with people that this is not a magic bullet, right? There is science backed knowledge behind what Michael is doing. But at the same time, you have to do the work, right? You have to do your practice. It doesn't mean sit all day and do it because it's going to take some time based on what challenges you have. So I would say you have to believe in yourself as well, right? There are some times when I revert back to my old speaking style, but it's only for a short period of time because I'm reminded instantly, wait a minute, you're safe. There's no need to be anxious or stressed anymore. You have tools and techniques. I realize sometimes that my jaw's clenched, for example, because I'm tense. I'm stressed, I'm anxious. And then I remind myself to take a deep breath. There's a 7-7 breathing technique. That's something that I never used to think about before Michael's program. Speaking with my hands. That helps support my smooth speaking style. So I still have work to do. And during this whole interview in the beginning, I actually started out feeling very nervous. But the more I talked, the more I was reminded of what I already know I have available to me. I got more and more comfortable. So I'm not here to sell you Michael's program. I'm here to tell you that I really am someone who has suffered with a speech disfluency for so long that I just thought I can't live like this anymore. It was unacceptable. So I'm here to share with you that just take the step. That's all you got to do. Just take the step and then do the work. And then sooner or later, you start to see the results. And I'm still working on things like I mentioned, but I'm here because I've been successful. I got my dream job. I'm getting paid over $200,000. I think y'all wanted to know what it was. I'm not going to tell you exactly, but it's
Yeah.
good money. It's good money,
Yeah.
and only because I decided to take this step because I had a reason to be confident. Thanks,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah. Our goal here really is not to help people overcome stuttering and things like that, even though I know that's why people come to us. At least that's one of the reasons, because many people that we work with don't even stutter, but it's to help you turn your speech or transform your speech from a liability to an asset, and probably one of your greatest assets. And this asset will generate a return for you, and often a return in a relatively short period of time. And we have a long list of people who've made 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 and more, thousands of dollars more within a matter of months after they joined us, that they probably wouldn't have made had they not taken the step and done the work. I just had Lady Diane. I think we're going to be doing an interview. I can't share with I can't share with you the company that she works with, but it's a global company, a big company. She just got, after being there for decades, she's been at this company for decades. She finally got a VP position, a vice president position, and she has actually shared her story. But I think we're going to do an interview. So thank you so much for sharing that. We'll wrap up here. Any last words, if you will, before we wrap up?
I love to hear about people like Diana, and it's never too late to give yourself the chance you deserve.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
taking that step, and again, I know that this is a lifetime process for me because it's not just a smoother speaking style, it's how to become a better leader as well. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm very
Very
grateful
good.
for the opportunity to be talking with you, Michael.
Well, thank you so much, Alice. This has been fun, and we'll do some other ones later where we might get into some specific things, specific things that you've learned that we can pass along. But thank you so much for the other video that you did and for being willing to speak with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, good. All right.